An aspect of playing 3PO, which a lot of people won't realise, is that once I'm dressed up, I become almost like a babe in arms. I have to be kind of mollycoddled around the set. Now in rehearsal, I will look at the floor particularly, look at props and objects that I might bump into, because when you can't see either side, very easy to bash into somebody or something. And because you can't see the floor other than about 6 feet away without going like that. But 3PO is very upright, and so I'm really trying to estimate and would count steps backwards. I'd walk forward, 1, 2, 3, walk backwards, do it again. And often there would be a sandbag at the end, providing it could be out of shot, just to let me hit my mark. But it meant that the floor had to be as clean as possible. Yeah, the sands of Tatooine, and then the forest floor of the moon of Endor. It was a real forest. It was it's coming back to me. So what they would do was put like mulch on the floor as much as possible, take away any ivy strands, because I would hit it, go like that. And sadly, of course, they didn't care about the stormtroopers so much. There were a few crashes, because those guys had terrible, cheap costumes. They looked great, but they had plastic lenses there, dark green. They could see almost as badly as me, and therefore they couldn't see what was on the floor. So we did try and keep that forest floor as clean as possible. And then, of course, in Elstree Studios, which was the studio lot there, was much easier to control because in the forest, there's a certain amount of reality going on there. And that was in Northern California, a place called Smith River. And what a joy to be amongst those redwoods. They were so, any kind of stress you had about, and just to move away and just look at a redwood tree that had been growing for hundreds of years, kind of put it all in perspective. That what does this matter? There was, curiously, in the bright sunshine of California, below the trees was a microclimate. So actually, it was quite cold down there. And I remember they would rig up 9 lights just to keep me warm and to warm up the costume before I put it on. So it was a bit shivery. On the other hand, it looked really beautiful. In the studio, much more comfortable, and we were way up on a rostrum, so the camera could look down into the forest floor, which was painted. But that was fun, and such a beautiful set that you really believed you were in this little home. And of course, wearing this, all that magic happened with suddenly taking off in a throne, going, That was kind of fun because there were tracks above me and I think somebody was driving a winch around. It was slightly scary because there were wires front and back, and I kind of had to make a decision. Are my hands inside the wires or are they outside the wires? Woo! I mean, it wasn't subtle acting. Let me down. It was quite fun. And in that set, in one of the rooms, that's, people say, what's your proudest moment of acting as 3PO? Well, it actually was in the Ewok village. I worked out how to do it, but Harrison, Han Solo, was being very rude. 3PO was talking to Wicket down here about, in Ewokies, we have to go to the shield generator. And Han Solo kept interrupt once, a second time, the third time, and watch this on film, I managed to position my shoulders and things so I could actually get, the look of fury on his face, on this face, which doesn't move, but just the speed with which I managed to do it, and that kind of double take of like, you've gone too far. And even, I think Han backs off a bit. I'm quite proud of that moment. And it's with these eyes and this face that I did that.